I suspect that they will once again dominate, and we will have a recession running perhaps deep into next year, and an accompanying decline in stock price.
The term recession often comes with a lot of negativity, but the truth is that it is a natural part of the economic cycle. The key is to be prepared and to plan wisely. With proper preparation and knowledge, every economic downturn can become a market opportunity. People have successfully built and managed wealth in tough times. Without a doubt, anyone has the potential to become significantly wealthy even in times of an economic downturn. While many on Wall Street have shifted focus away from a recession, Jeremy Grantham remains concerned. This shouldn't come as a surprise to those familiar with Grantham, Mayo, Van Otterloo, and Co.'s co-founder. In today's video, we'll explore Grantham's insights and discuss how we can prepare for potential challenges. Despite nearly 2 years of recession predictions from Wall Street's top minds, billionaire investors, and former Federal Reserve officials, the U.S. has not experienced an economic downturn. Some experts have become optimistic about a robust labor market and inflation diminishing due to assertive interest rate hikes. They argue that Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has the potential to orchestrate a soft landing for the economy. Even the Fed staff economists have abandoned their initial forecast of a mild recession earlier predicted. Jeremy Grantham suggests that investors should disregard the more optimistic views of his peers and the central bank staff. The seasoned investor gained recognition for predicting the dot-com crash in 2001 and the global financial crisis in 2008. However, he's also known for making some off-base or at least premature market bubble forecasts in recent years. This time, he argues that the Fed's interest rate hikes still affect the economy, raising borrowing costs for households and businesses, impacting real estate prices, and putting pressure on growth-focused stocks.
Yeah, I think the Fed's record on these things is wonderful. It's almost guaranteed to be wrong. They have never called a recession, and particularly not the ones following the great bubbles. They prided themselves in stimulating the bubbles.
As a longtime critic of the Fed, Grantham contends that central bank officials prided themselves in stimulating the bubbles through near-zero interest rates and aggressive purchases of mortgage-backed securities and government bonds since the global financial crisis, especially during COVID. Grantham now argues that the economy, however, is bearing the consequences of these unsustainable policies. According to Grantham, the prolonged unsustainable growth in asset prices, primarily driven by Fed policy and insufficient investment in producing essential raw materials globally, will eventually usher in a new economic era. Grantham cautioned that inflation is unlikely to remain as low as the average of the last 10 years, noting the under 2% yearly inflation rate in the past decade. Grantham strongly believes that we are now in a phase of somewhat higher inflation, leading to moderately increased interest rates. But when rates are low, asset prices go up. When rates are higher, asset prices go down. Grantham is not the only respected figures on Wall Street expressing a bearish view of the U.S. economy. David Rosenberg, an experienced economist and founder of Rosenberg Research, also shares a similar view. Rosenberg has stated that we are far from having a robust economy. The recession has been delayed. It has not been derailed, he remarked, highlighting that it typically takes about 2 years for a recession to commence after the Fed's initial interest rate increase. According to the central bank's timeline, the current hiking cycle began approximately 16 months ago. Lately, Rosenberg has consistently cautioned about various challenges facing the U.S. economy. His concerns extend to China's economic issues, encompassing a property crisis, soaring youth unemployment, and the potential for lasting deflation, which he fears may impede global economic growth. Additionally, he expresses worry that the conclusion of the U.S. student debt relief program will impact American consumer spending, and that fiscal policy might be limited following Fitch's recent downgrade of U.S. government debt. Rosenberg went as far as asserting that banks are increasing their loan loss provisions because, in his view, they anticipate impending challenges in the economic landscape. It's worth mentioning that Rosenberg foresaw a recession hitting the U.S. economy in 2022. In May of that year, he explained that increasing interest rates would result in lower home prices and a wealth shock, leading to a significant drop in consumer spending. Like others in his field, Rosenberg had to delay the timing of this recession prediction over the past year. However, he still firmly believes that sooner or later, the economy will face challenges due to the growing burden of rising interest rates. Likewise, Grantham has been sounding the alarm about an epic stock market bubble since January 2021 and predicting a looming U.S. recession since early last year. However, he, like others, had to adjust his forecast. According to Grantham, the recession is now expected to arrive this year.
So is AI the big complication? And explain what's going on with AI and why it is interfering with the normal course of events as bubbles unravel.
Yes, well, Lord knows this was complicated before AI raised its ugly head, because we had inflation, the Fed, how quickly would rates go up, how far would they go up, how would the war play out. Oh my hat, it goes on and on. So it was complicated enough. And now we have, since ChatGPT in October, November of last year, we have a new little flurry of interest, very concentrated.
Although the advent of AI has also helped to slow things down, Grantham revealed that it will not prevent a recession. The legendary investor Jeremy Grantham suggests that the economy might face a decline anytime soon. In a conversation with Bloomberg's David Rubenstein, Grantham cautioned that the Federal Reserve's most aggressive interest rate hiking cycle in decades could stifle growth and pull down stock prices. For a while now, the surge in interest surrounding ChatGPT and similar technologies has propelled stock prices. The benchmark S&P 500 has risen by 17%, and the tech-focused NASDAQ composite has experienced a remarkable 34% year-to-date increase. In 2023, positive economic news continues as inflation cools, unemployment remains stable at under 4%, and second quarter growth surpasses expectations. Grantham, who previously stated this year that the S&P 500 might plummet by 50% in the face of an inevitable recession, continues to express concern about the prolonged effects of the Fed's swift tightening efforts. The central bank has raised borrowing costs from near zero to over 5.5% in just 18 months. Meanwhile, the recession doesn't have to be a disadvantage to you. Whether Grantham's predictions are accurate or not, you can brace yourself for any changes by doing the following.
Because we are basically running out of resources. We're getting very tight on both labor and important raw materials. You know, the cheapest copper ores and lithium, cobalt, nickel, the stuff you need to electrify the system, they've all gone. We have no great CapEx projects up our sleeve since China slowed down in 2011. The CapEx has dwindled way down. There aren't plentiful reserves. So as we gear up to decarbonize, we're bumping our head, almost guaranteed, on shortages from time to time of these critical metals. And then you have the problem of labor, which in a short-term basis, everyone's saying, where have they all gone? But in a long-term basis, I can tell you where they've gone. They were never born. There is no improvement in the baby output over the last 20 years. We have slightly been declining.
Number 1, pay close attention to your budget every month. Regularly evaluate your budget every month. Take time to review it and identify expenses that no longer benefit you. If you need more money on clothing, consider reducing that expense. Stick to purchasing what you genuinely need and choose generic brands instead of name brands to save a few extra dollars. Number 2, invest more in your emergency fund. An emergency fund is a financial safety net for unexpected events or expenses. Follow a general guideline of saving 20% of your income for this fund and allocate 30% for extra expenses such as subscriptions and memberships. This helps safeguard your finances and ensures you're prepared for unforeseen circumstances. As an alternative approach, consider skipping additional expenses and aim to save up to 50% of your income. This ensures you're better prepared for significant health emergencies or loss of work, allowing you to cover everyday expenses from your emergency fund. A typical savings target for an emergency fund is usually 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses. Number 3. Clear out any high-interest debt. During a potential recession, reviewing your debt accounts is crucial, noting current interest rates and outstanding balances. Prioritize allocating as much of your income as possible toward high-interest debts, mainly on tax-deductible accounts like educational loans. This strategic approach can help you manage your financial situation more effectively during uncertain economic times. Number 4. Consider your career opportunities. During tough economic times like recessions, unemployment rates tend to rise. It's crucial to think about how these challenging situations impact your job, and it's a good idea to have a backup plan in case you face a layoff. Begin by reconnecting with professionals in your network. Think beyond just colleagues and include connections outside your current workplace. Building relationships across different organizations can significantly benefit your job search. You can also reach out through social media or propose in-person coffee meetings to strengthen your network. Additionally, consider updating your resume and job hunting tools proactively. While reviewing your work history, identify gaps and explore further education or training opportunities. Expanding your skill set is valuable to enhance your worth as an employee, whether or not you face a recession-related job challenge. If you're concerned about a potential layoff, consider taking on a side gig like freelancing. Having an additional income source provides a cushion in case of a layoff and facilitates building up your emergency savings while you're still employed. Will Grantham's predictions come to pass in 2024? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe if you found this content valuable. We'll see you in the next one.